Hello, welcome to Bored and Confused, where I review shows based on two criteria. One, was I bored? Two, was I confused? Today's show is 44 the Musical, playing off-Broadway at the Daryl Roth Theater. Now before I jump into this, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me grow this channel, which allows me to get press tickets to shows like 44, which I wouldn't be able to see otherwise. So, what is 44 the Musical? Well, I think the best way to explain what this is to explain how it came about. Now, it is written, composed, directed, and the lead producer is all one person, a man named Eli Bauman. Eli is from Los Angeles originally, but he studied at Columbia University, where he got a degree in English and creative writing. And then he moved back to LA and was working in television and mainly working on scripted shows, but then he moved into more variety shows. This is all very important because it explains a lot. When I saw the show, I had a lot of questions, but then when I found out this information through an interview that I read, I went, oh, okay, this all makes sense now. He worked on the Obama campaign in 2008, and so has a lot of understanding about politics, the Obama campaign, and subsequent presidency. And he has a love of Obama and interest in this area. So in 2016, when everything shifted politically, it was election night, and he was wondering, how have we come to here? We were so hopeful 8 years ago. And so he got this idea of writing this show about Obama. The problem is, Eli really has never written a musical before. He wrote a few songs for a show called Maya and Marty, which starred Maya Rudolph and Martin Short. He was on one of the writers, and they said, you can write songs, right? And he was like, yeah, sure. So then he went home, wrote some songs for this show, realized he could actually do it. He has a history also of being musically inclined. His father was one of the singers on the band Sha Na Na, which did a lot of like doo-wop classic songs and had like a rotating membership in the band, and he did some touring with his father, singing at different venues across the country. So he's a musical person, but had never written a musical before. But he sat down, and this is how I relate to Eli, is he wanted to do something and he was gonna do it. He was gonna figure out how to do this. So he discovered that he was pretty good at writing hooks for songs, hooks being like kind of the main line, the line you hear repeated in the chorus. So he would write these catchy hooks and then write the verses that lead into the choruses, and he found the writing actually pretty easy. So not something I find so easy. The opening song of this show is called MFO, which stands for Mother Effin' Obama. There is a lot of cursing in this show. A lot of the humor is very lowbrow, a little crass, but he's very funny. These lyrics are very funny, if not super memorable, although I will say some of his hooks are memorable, especially MFO, Mother Effin' Obama, Mother Effin' Obama, which they don't say effin', but his choruses kind of consist of a repetition of the hook line. And the songs are all written in very pop pastiche styles. We've got like some Motown styles, we've got some rock styles, we have some just regular traditional pop tunes as well, and some gospel. Also, he kind of believes in forging his own path, and he doesn't really listen to people in the industry. He's more like he's going to do it his own way. And I appreciate all of this. But this explains a lot of my experience of watching the show. Is when I learned all these things about him, I went, oh, okay, now I understand what it is I'm watching. So let's talk about the show. The show has about 22 songs in it, which is a lot. There's 2 acts. It runs about 2 hours and 15 minutes, including a 15-minute intermission. This show covers the first 4 years of the Obama presidency, basically from the moment of him getting elected, and then all the trials and tribulations, the successes, the struggles that he had over the course of those first 4 years. And so we start out, the first act is basically one song after another, just introducing the main players in this time period. We start out with a kind of modern day Rosie the Riveter type woman. She's got amazing vocals. This role is played by Summer Nicole Greer, who's credited as the voice of the people. But she's really kind of this Rosie the Riveter character. She's got incredible vocals. Everyone in the show is really great singers, good actors, very funny. You're in New York, you have although a lot of these actors I think came from LA, but they're all really strong and no problem with the talent here. But so we start out with her introducing the show, then we meet Joe Biden, and then we meet Barack Obama sings a song, then Hillary Clinton sings a song, then Michelle Obama sings a song, then Sarah Palin sings a song. And it's just kind of this person, this person, this person. We're introducing all of these characters. And Obama gets this really great Motown song, and he's doing these really good Motown moves, which is very funny when it's contrasted against, the Obama kind of stiff walk up to the podium. But there's a sameness about these numbers because there's really not a book to this musical. It really feels like a revue. Sure, we follow the first 4 years chronologically, and we hit moments of success like the Affordable Care Act and killing of Osama bin Laden. And then we have the difficulties, after 2 years when the Democrats didn't have control of both the House and the Senate, and things became more difficult when Mitch McConnell, the sorcerer, when Mitch McConnell came in, and Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, and they're making it very difficult at saying he's going to just be a one-term president. So all of this is covered. There's quite a few songs between Obama and Michelle that starts with them talking about how they're going to get down and dirty and make some sweet love in the White House. And then we've got moments where they're butting heads. And then there's a moment where Obama feels like he can't do it anymore, and she gives him a pep talk. And then there's a very heartfelt song in the second act after the Sandy Hook massacre of these children at this elementary school. And he sings a song to his daughters that's very heartfelt. All right. So, was I bored? Was I confused? I did get a little tired of the sameness of the type of songs. He did, in the second act, he does try to go into more musical theater area where he tries to give us some kind of narrative, but it's too little too late. There's really not a narrative to the show. And I really didn't feel like we needed the songs that got serious or sad. The show works best when it's just doing these one joke pastiche songs that says, oh, look, here's Sarah Palin. She's going to sing a rock song. She's dressed like a stripper, and she's going to do a dance on a flagpole. I don't know why Sarah Palin's doing that. It feels a little misogynistic saying that this woman, because she's attractive, now is going to be a stripper. But whatever, it was funny. The actor playing this role was quite funny, so I went along with it. Her name is Summer Collins. Wow, there's two Summers in this show. Summer Collins played Sarah Palin. It was very funny. And let's go ahead and credit, where credit's due. TJ Wilkins as Barack Obama was great. His Motown voice, very smooth, loved his moves. Shanice, plays Michelle Obama. She's got some great vocals. Chad Doric plays a very young Joe Biden. It was a little confusing that Joe Biden is much younger than he should be, where the rest of the characters, they found an older person for Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham. So I guess he just gave a killer audition, and they were like, okay, we'll go young with him. So I did become a little, I don't want to say bored, because the energy's high, and Eli also is the director, keeps things moving. The staging isn't really exciting. It's a very simple set, but everything is well produced. There's money has gone into this show. The costumes are good. The set is good. My one criticism as a graphic designer, figure out your aspect ratio of your projection screen in the back. Throughout the show, they project images on the back of this screen. It's usually just kind of double downing on the lyrics, like if he mentions Chuck Norris or Al Sharpton, picture flashes up on the screen, I guess to remind us of who these people are, because it's been a few years, although most of these people are still alive. But the aspect ratio was wrong on some of these photos, so it was either squeezing them or stretching them out. So I'm going to call out Mike Emerson, the graphics and video designer. No excuse for this. The rest of the show looks really polished, and having the incorrect aspect ratio on the images makes it look cheap. So Emerson, fix that. But the rest of it feels very polished. I do have to say the direction to the show isn't that exciting. It feels like the writer directed it. it just brings the actors, puts them center stage. And I also found the use of the scrim not really necessary with the projections. And there's one spot where Herman Cain is reading off a teleprompter, and the teleprompter is the screen behind him. So he had to turn and face away from the audience to read this teleprompter. And I just thought, why? He's a good actor. Just have him look out at the audience and have him pretend like he's reading off of a teleprompter. And also there's a joke at the end of the teleprompter where he's supposed to say the N-word. And because we saw it partially written, it just killed the joke, where I thought he would have been funnier if he just was speaking and then started to say it and was like, oh, I'm not going to say that. Anyhow, little things. I think Eli said in this interview that he's a control freak, and he was worried about bringing in a director because he was afraid they would try to do something with the piece that he didn't want. And I get that. But musical theater is a collaborative venture. It really is. It's rare to see a really successful musical where it's just one person. It starts to feel a little bit like a vanity project. So I would suggest, go ahead, be the writer, the composer, and the producer, but maybe get a director just for another, someone else to kind of give you another idea about the show. Now, Eli also said that he doesn't like to listen to conventional wisdom or the people in the industry. He's very much a maverick like Sarah Palin, and he's just gonna do his own thing. And he also said he gave a curtain speech, and so he's, this is his baby. He is there. He told us that he wanted us to clap, to sing, to really be involved with the show. And in this interview, he talked about that he really listens to the audience, and he's writing for the audience. He's not writing for the critics. He's not writing for the people who have a lot of experience in this genre. And for the most part, it seems to be really working. This show premiered in Hollywood. It moved to the Kirk Douglas Theater, where it extended its run by 2 weeks, did really well. And then he did a run in Chicago, and now he's here in New York. So you can't argue with success. This show is clearly resonating with people. So who is this show for? This show, I feel, is for people who really love Obama. It's for people who are liberal. It's for Democrats. I don't think Republicans would enjoy the show. There is a song, I'll just tell you the initials, FUTC. The TC stands for Ted Cruz. You can guess what the FU stands for. It's not for Republicans, it's not for conservatives. It's for people, I think, who are feeling frustrated currently and have a nostalgia for the Obama presidency. It's also, I think it really does lean in, I feel, towards a younger crowd. In the audience, I noticed that people to the left of me were really having a great time and laughing a lot, and people to the right of me, not as much. It was a very odd audience. And I looked to my left, and it was younger white women, and it was also kind of mixed Black crowd who were really getting into the show. This is a kind of show that you can talk during it. No one cares. It's not a like, shh, don't open your candy kind of show. The show is amplified. I do want to give hats off to the sound designer for making a show that's got pop rock songs in a very echoey space. The Daryl Roth Theater is in an old bank, so there's lots of marble, and it's a really high ceiling. And it has the potential to just be a difficult space to do your sound design. Jonathan A. Burke did the sound design. And credit to him for a show with loud rock music. I think it's like a 5 or 6 piece band. They're on top of the set because, like I said, we have lots of height. He's got this loud pop rock band, but I understood every lyric. And that's really important because this show is going to live and die on how funny these songs are. And these songs are quite funny. And they were really playing well to at least the audience sitting to the left of me. And I found a lot of these songs very humorous. It's a little lowbrow for my sense of humor, but I recognize that Eli is a funny person, and these songs have a lot of humor to them. So let's wrap it up. Was I bored? Was I confused? I got a little bored with just the sameness of the songs. They're all these same kind of pop songs. They don't overstay their welcome. They're short for the most part. But the hooks of the songs are very repetitive. The Mother Effin' Obama, not lying, I think we hear it about 50 times. It is the melody that you're going to leave the show humming. If you like being able to hum a tune when you leave a theater, you will leave this theater humming a tune with an expletive in it. So the energy made it so that I wasn't really bored, but I did get a little tired with this. And I really felt that the show, it's 2 acts with 22 songs. It really should have been 80 to 90 minutes. 1 act, cut out the sad songs that are kind of trying to make it a book narrative. This show is not have a book narrative to it. It really is a review of the first 4 years of the Obama administration. Just do that. That's what people are responding to. Just do the funny songs, get in there, get out. We don't need 2 acts, in my opinion. I'm sure there were people who, when he sang the song about Sandy Hook, were emotionally touched. There may have been some tears shed because it is an emotional time that, there's a lot of nostalgia with this. Was I confused? One thing that I found confusing is early on in the show when we meet Joe Biden, which I think is the second song in the show, he says that we're going to be seeing this story from Joe Biden's point of view, from his point of view. And I felt like that was just it. I was told that's what was going to happen, but then Joe Biden just becomes the narrator to kind of introduce scenes, and we're not really seeing it from his perspective. A good example is Titanic tells us that we're going to see the movie Titanic through Celine Dion's perspective. So what do? We get a bunch of Celine Dion songs, and we get Celine just popping up randomly in scenes and being like, no, I was in this part of the movie, which is really funny. And I felt like this was a missed opportunity. If we're gonna see it through Joe Biden's eyes, then it should be about his hubris. Everything should be about him. Just like with Celine Dion, everything was about her. So, he should say, they're singing Motown songs because that's the music that Joe Biden grew up with, or how everything should center around him. But I feel like this was just kind of an excuse because they wanted to have a narrator. So I'd say either go in that direction and really have Joe Biden tell this story. It could be very funny, or just have Joe Biden say, hi, I'm Joe Biden, I'm going to be your narrator tonight. My 2 cents. Watching it, I was like, who directed this? These were my questions. I was like, who wrote these songs? Not because they were bad, but just because it felt to be so singular in its idea. And so then when I read the interview with Eli, it all made sense to me. And I went, okay, this is one person's passion project. And, I don't argue with success. This show is successful. The audience is responding to it. It has been successful wherever it's gone. So the people who, if you have a sense of nostalgia about the Obama administration, if you like Saturday Night Live kind of sketch humor, those kind of songs they do in Saturday Night Live, pop pastiche songs, if, singing F You Ted Cruz and seeing Sarah Palin be a pole dancer and Obama doing Motown moves, and Lindsey Graham being very fey, closeted homosexual, Mitch McConnell rapping in his southern drawl. If all of this sounds like really ridiculously fun to you, then this is the show for you. You should go check out 44 the musical. So you can get tickets very affordable for this show. I believe the box office price is like $52. All of the seats are great in this theater. It's kind of a huge black box, but the rake on the seating is really good. This is where Titanic was. It's a very similar setup. Not a bad view. I sat pretty far back and I felt like I had a great view of the show. And I was to the side as well. Not a bad seat in this house. So $52 tickets, or you can go on Today Tix, and I believe there's a lottery or rush, I forget which, but that's $32. Come on. So this is a great date night. Very affordable tickets. You can also get $40 tickets on the TDF website. So go check out 44 the musical. Please let me know what you thought of it. Were you laughing your head off? Did you cry during the more sentimental moments? Did you feel it was more of a review, or did you think it actually had a narrative book to it? So please comment below, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.